何もあんたらに意見しようってわけじゃないんだ。どこからだ？
誰かいるんですか？
誰もが見て見ぬふりをしているだけなんだよ。
なら僕が出してあげるよ。きっとなんとかするから約束する。
これまで、この作品は、ワイルドアームズ、1から3までの、ストーリーと
So far in this series, we have made 4 games, Wild Arms 1 through 3 and Alter Code F, which is a summary of Wild Arms 1, 2, and 3. Wild Arms 4 is a whole new world in terms of gameplay and look and feel. I think this game will be accepted as a completely new Wild Arms.
本作のフォースは今までの、戦争の後
The game's setting is still Filgaia, but it takes place in a post-war era. There are no troops roaming the country. The story starts from a time when everyone begins to wonder how they can revitalize a land ruined by war.
どうした、その荒廃した大地には、魔獣という生態兵器とかが、
Although the war is over, there is a military group called Brionac. They are trying to conquer the land. Each member of Brionac has a unique ability, such as the ability to control space and the ability to read minds, etc.
支配しようとしている、といったところから物語が始まっていきます。
In this game, all the main characters are boys and girls, but they are not the ones who fought in the war. It is actually quite a heavy theme of how those children who were born after the war ended will grow
子
up.
供たちがどうやって成長していくかといった結構重いテーマになっています。まず主人公は、ジュードと
The main character is a boy named Jude. He was born after the war had ended. He grew up in a situation where he didn't know anything about the war or the outside world because he has grown up in a shelter.
かつあるシェルターの中でずっと育ってきたので、外
Later, during the process of the adventures, he learns that the outside world was completely destroyed by
どう
war.
なってるかを知らない少年で、冒険の過程で
And throughout the game, we learn how he grows up, how he came to this adventure and more. He is a rather pure, honest, and straightforward boy.
戦争はもう終わったんじゃないのか？なのに
主人公は最初は何も知らない。
However, an incident reveals that Jude can use the forbidden weapon called arm, used as a weapon of mass destruction during the war.
で、あと、ヒロインで、ユーリーというキャラクターがい
The
る。
heroine of the story is called Yulie, and she doesn't know anything about the war either. She is a girl who has been isolated by adults who have repeated various experiments with bioweapons during the wartime. These are bad adults who rule the post-war world. These adults are using her as a bioweapon even though the war is supposed to be over. Jude joins Yulie and fights to protect her.
統治をする生徒がいるので、
I still won't give up.
ずっと連れ回されているという女
Then there's an outlaw traveler just like in every Wild Arms game.
シリーズでずっと出てきてる
連れてきたあの子に危険はないと言われたからここまで協力したんだ。これ
バ
じゃあの
タリロイという、
子に対して。
This time he's a young man called Arnaud.
俺のわ
There's also a king's swordswoman named Raquel.
恋人がいるんですが、
They join the company, and the adventures of these 4 characters make up the story in this game.
ラクエルという、国王の剣士が仲間に加わると。
期待に添えられないのは容赦願いたいものだ。
戦闘に入ると、7つの、六角形のマス目
When entering the fighting mode, 7 hexes are displayed on the screen. And the fighting begins with main characters and enemy characters being arranged randomly within those hexes.
行動順、敵の行動順などが、従来のシミュレーション
While conventional strategy RPGs use squares and hexes that can only hold 1 character each, we have completely eliminated the limitation. We created a unique ability which allows players to either move multiple characters into a single hex or keep them separate.
仲間キャラクターを配置することもできれば、
The more characters they place in one hex, the more attacks they can provide at once, just like in a combination
一
attack.
つのヘクスの中に、キャラクターをたくさん配置すればそんだけ
Also, they can recover all of their characters at the same time, since the magic is cast on the entire hex unit.
でいっぺんに、キャラクター全員回復したりとかそういった要素があるんですが逆にバラバ
On
ラ
the other hand, there's an advantage to keeping your characters separate because it makes it harder for enemies to attack them.
させるか、それは敵キャラクターにも言えて敵キャラクターを一つに集めて一斉に、倒すかバラバラに
So whether players decide to position characters together or separately becomes critical.
なっていると思います。そうですね、シリーズ通して
Throughout the series, there has been a factor of solving puzzles by using items called goods. In this game, goods are not bound to a specific character. For example, if there is a sword placed in the level, players can use it to destroy obstacles by swinging the sword. Or by throwing it, players can turn on switches located out of reach.
これは従来のシリーズ通りですね、カスタマイズして、
There's also a piece of equipment known as a badge that will modify the percentage increase of the hit points, or how much the power of attacks will go up, or the structure of how a certain special attack gets enforced. These badges can change the character's stats based on the user's
する
preferences.
ことによって、アビリティが、使えるようになってます。一つのグッズというアイテムに対してもいろいろなその使い方がある。
Each of the goods have various uses, so there's a factor in which players have to think about how to clear obstacles.
あとはそのさっき言ったジャンプでダンス
Do they use a good, or do they use jump mode to jump over a collapsing bridge? Such features are closer to an action game than to an RPG, and I think that part is a major difference from previous games in the series. Also, the main character has an ability called Accelerator, which he can use to make his surrounding time slower. By using this ability, he can run across a collapsing bridge while slowing down the destruction of the bridge beneath his feet.
足場も、RPG というよりも僕たちの中ではアクションゲームにかなり近いと思っているので、
So this game has evolved beyond an RPG game, to a point where it can be compared to other action games.
いいぐらいに、進化していると思います。
All the things I did to you, winds of fate come blowing through, takes away the things you love, and you don't know what to do. Then from nothing comes the light, see your future still in sight, waiting there, and you find the things that you have. The dreams we see so far together makes us who we are. So don't let go, you know we're almost there.
Product not yet rated.